The things you can't say out loud. How about that? I'm starting to feel like this person. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting my groove, and I know where I'm going. The fans, this isn't even really a show. This is a place for me to sit down and talk when I have something to talk about. But the people who have kept up with me and are sort of my loyal friends know that I just, since Charlie's death, I've just been kind of aimless, not really sure where I want to land in all of this, thinking my voice is changing, and it is. I mean, and I'm changing. I'm 51, so I'm menopausing. That's fun. It is, it's interesting. I'll say that. It's interesting. You don't just shed a lot of, your skin moisture and hair and all of that, but you sort of shed a lot of the old survival mechanisms that you used to get through youth, and you don't need them anymore. So this is kind of the cool part. All that being said, I'm starting to feel like I know where I'm landing here, but I'm still, in the experimenting. But I wanted to talk about State of the Union. I promised some of you I would address that, and I also definitely want to talk about Gavin Newsom's racism, dyslexic racism. I've had a number. I mean, I have had to turn down so many offers this week for commentary, for shows, for panels. I'm doing at least 2 every day right now, but I still have my own stuff to do. And so for those of you who reached out, and I'm always grateful when people want to talk to me. I don't know why people keep wanting to talk to me. I don't. I'm grateful for it. I'm not famous. I don't make a ton of money. I don't have a ton of fans, but somehow I'm always getting gigs in this world. I don't know. I'm just very grateful for it because I have a lot to say. And I want to talk about Newsom, and I want to talk about the State of the Union. Let's just start real quick with Newsom because so many people have been asking me about it. So many people have been wanting to know what I have to say about it. So how about we do this? How about I just real quick play? Make sure all my settings are right here. Okay, real quick play. And then I'll comment. Oh man, I lost it already. Let's see. Gavin Newsom, Atlanta. Let's see. Sorry, I had it queued up, but then I lost it, of course, because I'm a one-woman show. Here we go. All right, here we go. I'm going to share the screen.
Not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
Oh, golly. All right, here we go. Back in. Stop sharing, please. Let's stop. Okay, let's break this down real quick. Because I do want to get onto the State of the Union. Let's break down the controversy around. I don't think it's controversial at all. I think what we think he was saying, I think he was absolutely saying, and I'm going to tell you why. But let's break down the controversy. The controversy is that some people said, well, what was the crowd makeup? That's a fair question, by the way. We all assumed because he was sitting on the stage with the mayor of Atlanta, who is Black, and sitting in a city like Atlanta, that he was probably talking to a largely Black audience. And so I thought that was a legitimate question. It's one that I asked myself before I made comment on the video. And when I looked, from what I could see, it looked like a really mixed audience. It seemed like more white people there than Black, but you couldn't really see. And I'm not in the business of really counting for race quotas. So, I only did just a once over. But fair enough. I think that's a fair criticism, and his comms team Izzy especially was very upset. I think this is why you don't have Gen Z leading your teams. You need Gen Z because they're younger, they understand the technology and they've got their ear to the ground. Of course, I don't want to besmirch all of Gen Z, but Gen Z is still Gen Z. They're young. You don't put them in charge of this stuff. But I think so many of us old heads feel like we don't know what we're doing on social media. We will hand over the keys to Gen Z, which they might have the knowledge, but they don't have the experience. It's really weird watching Gavin's team because they're very young and they clearly don't even know who they're working for. They don't know his history. Sometimes they post things on his behalf and it's like, oh, you guys really didn't fact check before you guys really didn't know that Gavin cheated on his wife with his best friend's wife. You wouldn't have said X, Y, or Z. So he's got this really weirdly inexperienced and very self-absorbed Gen Z team with him. And so they were Izzy, especially though, they're very upset that everybody was misinterpreting Gavin's comments. But I don't think I misinterpreted them. I do believe that that crowd was a mixed crowd. Absolutely. Did not surprise me, by the way. Black people aren't going to go out on what was it, a Sunday night? On a Sunday night to see Gavin Newsom talk about his book, the governor of California. No, obviously that was the old white liberal crowd. Those are the people who are going to white ticket, who are going to, excuse me, Freudian slip, buy tickets to an event like that. Okay, that being said, no Democrat can be elected if they do not have the blessing of the Black community. So, in order to do that, you have to stop through Black Mecca, and that's Atlanta. Hotlanta. We all know this. He's in Atlanta Atlanta, Georgia, talking to the Black mayor of Atlanta. I'm going to get into how he was talking in just a minute. But all of that again, here's the thing that I don't really like about the conservative contrarian class. This really bugs me, and there's a lot of conservatives out there who will I talk about them all the time, and they'll be the ones who will be like, you guys, we're not going to be like the other side. Let's not be like the other side, you guys. They always want to make sure everyone knows they're not one of those bad conservatives. They're not like you. They're better than you. They're calmer. They make more sense. So a lot of them are out there saying conservatives, we're being just like liberals on this. Here's what I don't like about that. That's lawyering. Okay. That's lawyering. And I'm over all of that. That's a tactic of the left. What they do is they drill down on details, bleed out. It looks like they're talking about nuance, but they're not. They'll bleed out the nuance and they'll force you to drill down on one fact that they think disproves the entire thing. And but they will make no room for context, right? But at 51 and with 20 years, really 20 years of covering Gavin Newsom, I guess, at this point. I mean, he hasn't been the governor for 20 years, but he was lieutenant governor, mayor of San Francisco. He's always been on the scene. As long as I've been a Californian, Gavin Newsom has been around. He's always been around. And for as long as he's been here, I don't know where I was going with that point. As long as he's been here, I've only known him to be a panderer. And let's go to Kamala for a second, or Hillary. Remember Hillary? And she's at the Black church and she's I ain't no waist tied. Or remember Kamala, whenever Kamala is in front of a Black audience, she immediately code switches immediately. So we've seen people do it before, and that's all Gavin was doing. But it's very foolish to believe that he stopped in Atlanta to talk to white people. He was there for Black people, even if the Black people didn't show up to his book talk. I can guarantee you that his staff was feverishly trying to get those people there. I can guarantee you. I don't think the audience was his doing. That was their doing. I think if he had his druthers, that was going to be a Black audience. And I think you invite the mayor of Atlanta in hopes, right? That you would He's not meeting with the governor's up there. You would invite the mayor of Atlanta in hopes that you're speaking to the Black audience. Okay, let's talk about how he was speaking. He very obviously was code switching. Not long after, you saw a video of him meeting with Usher and they were, dapping and bruh and all that stuff. And you can see if you watch his podcast with Marshawn Lynch, what was it called? Politicking. Oh God. It was this is Gavin Newsom has a little more production value to it. This is just it's pure drivel. I don't know how much Marshawn got to do this podcast with Gavin. I hope it was worth it, brother, because that man did no favors for your reputation at all. What a horrible podcast. Anyway, I guess it's worth watching just to see how absurd it is. But if you watch him on that podcast, you'll see him engaging in that code switching. That sort of like, yeah, come on, man. Yeah, it's so weird and cringy, but I have an explanation for it. It's actually not as, I don't think it's as dastardly as people make it out to be. It is inauthenticity. It is. And it is a problem. It's fake. But I really don't, I'm probably trying to save myself here because I see this. I see someone like me doing this. And I think when you're from a broken home, you can recognize other people who are from broken homes. It's like a tattoo. And I really see it in the mirroring. And that's what Kamala does. That's what he does. When you grow up in an environment where you don't really belong anywhere. In Kamala's case, she was a lot like me, mixed race, single mom, in and out of different types of neighborhoods and different types of situations, never really being able to be stable, never being able to call one place home. So I understand that about Kamala, and I think Gavin is a lot like that in some respect. He's not mixed race, but I think he's got all a lot of different people pulling at him in his life, never really sure which tribe to belong in, where to go, and then what that does is it caught we're all tribal. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you believe about yourself. We humans are tribal. We need tribes. We find tribes. Your tribe can be your country, your religion. It can be your family. It can be your neighborhood. It can be your sports team. Whatever your tribe is, you have one. And because you need one, that's imperative for human survival. We are tribal. And so when you are in a situation where you're not born into a tribe and you're always sort of on the outside, what you have to see, what tribes will do is they will treat you with suspicion until you can prove to them that the organism will not hurt the body. Like, I'm breaking this down in very technical terms, but that's basically what it is. Like, the organism will not hurt the body. That's why, when you move to a new neighborhood, people might seem kind of cold, or it took you so long to make friends or become a part of the culture at your new company or at your new church. That's all that is. It's people going, can we trust this person to let this person into our body? Um, so we're all tribal. And when a guy like Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris, or a woman like Kamala Harris, or even a woman like me, when you grow up always having to prove that you can be welcomed into the body, you start learning how to speak the language of mirroring, and you mirror what's in front of you. So, for me, it might be the way I speak. I'm also an actor, and actors and politicians. It's the same people. We're all the same people. It's the same people. We're all theater kids. Right? Dave Marcus, you listening? We're all theater kids because it's all performative. So it's not unusual for people from the entertainment industry to go into politics and vice versa. It's all performative. And so even for someone like me, when it's hard to find your tribe, what you do is you learn how to mirror people until people can trust you. You learn how to ease their minds. And that's not on the surface. This is all subconscious. I'm not saying that people are rude and don't be in our tribe. That's not it. This is all subconscious and under the surface. That's who I think Gavin is. I don't think that he is trying to be fake. I really don't. I don't think he knows how to be a real person. I don't know if he is a real person. On the inside, something just might be very broken or damaged or not there altogether. But I do see him and Kamala working hard to fit into the tribe they're speaking to, which is always the sign of someone who is unsure of themselves. And so, as I was growing up, I had to learn how to just find my own voice, and probably that's only just now happening. But yeah, I had to learn that too, and learn not to be afraid of not being welcomed into the tribe. And that's not like I'm tribeless. I have my own tribe. I have a family, I have friends. I have other conservatives. Like, I'm part of the conservative tribe. I'm part of the American tribe. Like, I'm not sweating it, in case anyone's feeling sorry for me. But I'm just saying that he's trying to be a part of a tribe. All these politicians are trying to be a part of the tribe. So as we move through election season, you need to be asking yourself, whose tribe are they trying to be in? Okay? Whose tribe am I in? Whose tribe are they trying to be in? Whose tribe are they talking to? That's going to be very helpful. But I think that the evidence is in his code switching and in the lilt. And I can say this as somebody, I suppose, if I didn't really observe Gavin Newsom very much, and I'm sort of a Johnny come lately to his whole shtick, and I've only seen him for a few months on the scene, I suppose I might look at that and say, I think people are blowing it out of proportion. But instinct coupled with experience, right? I've been covering the man for almost 20 years now. I know how he is, and I know how he talks regularly. I know what he's doing, and I know what he's doing on that book tour. And so he was there pandering to Black people for sure, but because that's how he acts with Black people. That's how he is. He's pandering, and he knows he can't get that vote without them. And I think the makeup of that audience is not so much a defense of what he was saying as an indictment of the type of people he can't draw to him. And you certainly don't draw anybody to you by telling them you can identify with them because you're just as dumb as they are. I don't think that's a really solid message for anybody, and the people at CNN didn't think so either. Harry Enton was, he had a few things to say about it. Feels like the mask is coming off in a lot of ways for Dems. I see that. I see this when people talk to Gavin Newsom. This is why I'm not too worried. I'm worried about the cheating that might elevate him. The Pelosi's are very powerful, and they've been grooming him for a long time. They're not going to let this one go easy. But I've been in the room with people who have been in the room with Gavin when they watch him speak, and people who are fans and people who are liberals and Democrats, and they watch him talk, and you can see it's the same look when Kamala talks. It's the same one. You can see it slowly move over their face. It's just this like, oh, I'm so excited to be seeing this person. What are they talking about? I don't think she said anything. There's a great video of Kamala Harris and Maxine Waters at the Black Expo. I think it's the Black Expo in New Orleans. They have it every year. It's a big deal. And it was right around, would this have been right before 2020, I think, because the Me Too movement was having a moment, and Kamala was, I think she was getting a little wind in her sails from some of those hearings, and Maxine was out there telling people to go, don't give them any peace in the streets, take it to them at the gas station, or whatever she was saying. So liberals were loving them for a hot second. Do you remember? Oh, remember when Maxine Waters was everywhere for like 5 minutes? She was everywhere. But the same thing happened with Kamala and Maxine that happened with Gavin, which is even liberals, even progressives, when they had the opportunity to talk with these ladies and they had like more than 5 minutes to talk, even the super fans in front of them have to admit they're not saying anything. And you can see the disappointment in their face. So you can, at this video, Black Expo, you can see these interviewers talking to Maxine and Kamala, and they're both empty and vapid. And Maxine is actually kind of crazy. And you can see it in real time. You can watch the faces of these ladies just fall because they realize they're talking to two idiots and they thought they were heroes. So, uh, yeah, Gavin, of course, Gavin. Yes, yes. Gavin's a racist. Gavin was being a racist. Gavin was being a racist, everybody. He is a racist. He is, not because he hates Black people, though. Not because he doesn't. Gavin doesn't hate Black people. He doesn't. Maybe racism is the wrong word. Maybe I shouldn't use that word. He's an elitist, which is still I believe commiserate with racism at this point. But he's an elitist, right? he can't possibly identify with you. He has nothing to identify with. He's been chosen, groomed, and wealthy from the absolute jump. And he has only traveled in wealthy circles with wealthy connected people. He doesn't have any real life experience. The only thing he can do is tell you that he's dumb, like you are, because that's how he was raised to look at the voters. That's how they all look at the vote. And Republicans and Democrats, the a wealthy elite at the top, that's how they look at us all. They think we're dumb. And we are. Because we keep voting on along these binaries, left and right, Republican and Democrat. Don't get it twisted. I'm a Republican. And a conservative, but I'm not naive enough to think that there's no traitors in my party, or there's no self-interested people in my party, or there's no elitists in my party. That's ridiculous too. I just choose this party because of the stated values and platform of the party, not because of the people. Yeah, Gavin think he looks down on black people. Of course he does. He of course he does. He must. That is the, and I don't mean like, yeah, he probably does. I mean, like, he has no other choice because he hasn't lived any other life. And so when he's saying things that he thinks sound nice, that's why it all sounds so cringy and insulting. Because I think he genuinely is trying to connect. But he's a narcissist, and I don't think he has real feelings. And so I think it's hard for him to connect. So he's pulling out pieces of his programming, right? People want to hear things that make you vulnerable. Okay, I'm dumb. Are you dumb? I'm dumb too. I don't know that Gavin even cares enough about you to worry if you're dumb or not. He just assumes everyone is, and everyone is because we keep voting for this. Ugh. Well, I won't get into voter fraud. I'm not convinced in California we've been voting for this for a long time. That's a whole other show. Let's move on to the State of the Union. Verdict rendered. Gavin Newsom is a racist, and he's going to have to pay the price for that little stunt. Gavin, you're not cool enough to do this. Okay, bruh, you're not cool enough. And I know you've been surrounded by people who tell you you're cool, and Izzy is probably in love with you. And so he's going to tell you all of the things that you want to hear, and all your little Gen Z people. That's why you keep a Gen Z comms team, isn't it? Right? They make you feel good. They don't know any better. It's like having a teenage girl around, being an older guy and having a teenage girl around. Like, she thinks you're the best. You're so amazing. You know so much. That's why he keeps all those people around. But there's no there. He's an empty vessel. He's an empty vessel. And Jennifer, before I get off of this, I know they'll be watching this. And Jennifer Siebel Newsom, I think, girl, you should be really careful about how bold you get out there on social media. There's just far too many receipts. Far too many receipts that show the degradation of your husband, what you've allowed him to do to you, your family, your children, and this state, and to other women. And I understand you probably you just invested so much in this guy, right? Like, you've just invested so much in this guy, and what could be better than getting to that White House? It's like cherry on top, and you've been shoveling a lot of shit to get there. I hear you, girl. I know. I get it. I think you should cut your losses. I don't think this brother is going to the White House. Furthermore, he might be going to jail. At the very least, girlfriend, it's just some friendly advice from the friendly opposition, okay? Your frenemy, Kira Davis. You should lay low. And I'm giving you that advice like wife to wife, mom to mom, not conservative blogger, conservative talker who can't stand the Newsoms. And I can't stand the Newsoms. That's just a little friendly advice, and it's free. Just lay low. Just lay low. I know you're embarrassed when you see him out there. We all are. And it's even more embarrassing to see this beautiful woman standing next to him. I think he's embarrassed when he sees you, actually. I did watch, let me just, since I'm talking, let me just say, I watched that video of Jennifer, the first partner, scolding reporters for asking her husband questions when she was trying to celebrate the $90 million she procured to murder babies. Did you see that clip? I saw that clip, but I really watched Gavin. But my eyes were on Gavin because she just was impromptu. She just kind of busted in there. And Gavin's not a spur of the moment kind of guy. He's not very flexible. He just needs things a certain way. And he really can't deal with just sort of deviations. He doesn't have the ability. So I was curious. I watched him. She dove in, and whatever. She took the mic. She took control. Good for you, girl. I mean, yeah, the thing you're passionate about, killing babies. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't go so hard on that, but I feel you. I feel you. You were like, I'm mad. I'm going to say something, but I didn't feel like Gavin was impressed. If I was reading his face correctly, I think I saw a little contempt in the opening seconds. I don't think he wants to take you there as his first partner, Jennifer. This is what I'm telling you. You're the lady that's standing next to him right now, and you're good looking. Girl, there's so many women in between here in the White House. I just think you should cut your losses. But at the very least, you should lay low. Just enjoy your money, girl. Just go enjoy your money. And go spend time with your kids. Because clearly your husband has no intention of doing that. As he told CBS the other day. Was that CBS? What I hear are children begging their fatherless father to pay attention to them. Right? Daddy, please, we'd like you to spend more time with us. Gavin Newsom, we just wrote a whole book about what it's like to grow up being neglected by your parents, is bragging about his kids, texting him to ask him, please, Daddy, don't run for president. We need you at home. We miss you. And he said that in the interview, and he thinks it makes him look good, and that's how you know he's a narcissist. He thought that was a vulnerable moment, and that was another creepy cringe moment. Because a normal person would be embarrassed about that, right? Because those of us who are in politics, we do make a lot of sacrifices, and our families make a lot of sacrifices too. You could talk to anybody who's run for office, they'll say the same thing. And relationships do have a lot of stress or break up. Ask Margaret Thatcher's kids about what kind of mom she was. Ask Ronald Reagan's kids, like good leaders, great, strong, good leaders, moral leaders. But to do that, they did have to fail their families in some way. That is the ugly part of this. And that's why service to your country, it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. People look at it as a popularity contest. It's not. It's a sacrifice. But Gavin hasn't asked his kids if he can sacrifice their childhood for his hopeless ambitions. But Gavin, if you're going to listen to this, if there's any real person in there, if there's anything left behind those eyes, let me just tell you, listen to what your kids are saying. Don't dismiss it. Look at your kids the way that you looked at that little boy sitting alone in his apartment, supposedly eating Kraft mac and cheese or whatever it is you tried to pretend. But whatever it is, I know that you might have been lying about the details of the circumstance, but I know, Gavin, that you weren't lying about how you were feeling or how you were abandoned. I know you weren't lying about that because game recognizes game. I'm just saying you need to look at your kids as you. Look at them and imagine that they're you, turning to your dad and saying, I need you. I don't know. At the very least, I guess I'll recycle this advice I gave to your wife. Like, lay low. Don't talk about it then. It doesn't make you look good. All right, go to justkieraDavis.com. I'll probably write an article if I have time later today. But if you just sign up, then when it comes out, you'll have it. All right, let's do some more rapid response here. I want to do State of the Union. Okay. Let's move on to State of the Union. State of the Union speech last night. What'd you think? I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was top to bottom, exactly what it should have been. It was a lot that I was expecting. I thought that Trump would talk about the economy and he would use it to tout his economic victories. And really, that's kind of what the State of the Union speech is. It is sort of a propaganda campaign for a president. And it's also where a president gets to pitch his vision for the upcoming year to the legislature, to Congress, to all the people watching at home, to SCOTUS. This is his opportunity to talk to everybody all at once, face to face, all the government that he leads, and say, hey, here's my hopes for the future. Here's what I hope you do. This is what I'm proposing. So he did all that, obviously. Plus, he did what he was supposed to do on the economic news. I think, the strategy of the Trump administration has been the same from the start, and it's an excellent one, which is if the media isn't going to cover you fairly, then you go to where the media is and you make them cover you. Well, the media is going to be in the State of the Union address. So that's when you show and talk about all the things they refuse to address, just like he did with the pictures of the criminal illegal aliens on the White House lawn. Just like he did when he was on trial in New York City. He should have been out campaigning. And they had the man locked up in a courtroom for 12 hours a day. But what did he do? He didn't just crumble up and said, go get me a Diet Coke and a Big Mac and I'm going to go cry in my penthouse, which actually sounds fine too. No, all the cameras are sitting outside that courtroom all day. What did he do? He went out and campaigned to the cameras. Campaigned. He used every second he had to say what he wanted to say. I think this is a model for everybody. Actually, I think this is a model for every single Republican legislator or politician. I'm going to use my school board as an example here in Southern California, Capital Unified School District, which many of you supported my run for school board in 2022, and you're still following me now. And thank you for all that support. We did not win, but the board did flip in the next election cycle. So it flipped from a 4-3 liberal majority to a 4-3 supposedly conservative majority. And there's a lot of stuff we thought they were going to do, right? That you and I would do if we got to be in charge of a school board in California, and they haven't really done any of it. And they've been doing a lot under the radar. They don't want to anger the left too much and get protested. And I mean, y'all know how crazy it gets out here. They're worried about Sacramento suing us. They've had all kinds of excuses for why they can't give us a parental notification policy, or why I'm doing a story this week on violence and threats against a TPUSA club at one of our schools here in South Orange County. But I asked them about it. They didn't want to address it. They gave me some, we don't approve of bullying or anything like that. I say all this to say that I'm not insensitive to perhaps the constitution of the women on the board. Not everybody's like me. As one of the board trustees reminded me the last time I was at the meeting, and said, hey, I don't know what you guys are doing, but you look really weak to me. You need to stand up for the kids. And I got a series of very angry messages from one of the trustees, because they felt that I was being unfair and that there was a lot going. I've never released the text messages, and I won't, because she texted them thinking we were friends. We're not. I'm a constituent. But the point is that what she was saying is, Kira, you don't know what's going on. There's lots going on that you can't see. There's lots going on behind the scenes that you can't see. We're dealing with so many issues. And just because we're not like you, we're not loud and bold and energetic like you, doesn't mean we're not doing anything. And my response to that was, this really isn't about you or me. This is about the kids. But I will say this, just, okay, in the interest of fairness, let's just say that there's a lot I don't know. And there is a lot going on behind the scenes. That sounds like what Democrats do, right? They do everything under the radar instead of above board where everyone can see it. So that really, I don't like that strategy, but okay, whatever. But let's just say that there's a lot of legalities I don't understand, and I'm not in the office. I didn't win it, so there is a lot I don't know. Fair enough. How about we concede that? Then what you do is when you have that bully pulpit at the opening of every school board meeting every month, you use your 2 minute, you get unlimited time. Actually, I don't even think there's a time limit. You get to make your opening statement. No one's allowed to respond to you. You've got nothing but time and space to say whatever you want. So if you are worried about pulling the levers to do some of this stuff legally, then at the very least, you should be a freaking thorn in the side of every progressive loon in the state. And every time you have the mic, as a school board member, as a city council member, as a sitting mayor, as a sitting school board president, you should open every meeting with, these are the things that are going on in your district or your city that we are trying to stop, but do not have the legal ability to do so right now, but we want to keep you informed. They're transitioning your children secretly at some schools in this district. We can't do anything about it, but we're letting you know. We're keeping you informed. At the very least. So that's what every Republican needs to do. To my mind, every Republican, when you're in front of a mic, that's what you do. If you have a mic and you are a sitting school board member, you should open every comment session with a statement like that. Talk about something controversial. Tell the parents about something going on in the school district that they might not know about that is legal for you to tell them. Because, by the way, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot that all the stuff that goes on in those closed sessions, there's a lot of stuff they can't by law, which is creepy in itself, say. So I'm not even suggesting you say that. But I know that it ain't nothing but a thing to sit up there in front of the microphone and say, you know what, there's some dirty things going on in this school district, and we're not allowed to talk about all of it. Parents, why don't you get more curious? We're just leaving so many weapons on the table. We're just trying to play by all these old rules that never worked for us in the beginning, and we're only there to make people, good people like you and me, want to play by the rules and believe that we can win by playing by the rules. Well, Trump didn't win by playing by the rules in 2024, and the rest of us aren't going to either. Everybody needs to grow a pair. It's like, sucks. We have a conservative school board, but our kids are still getting transitioned at school. I'm running a story on this TPUSA club that's being threatened. It's Capo Valley High. If you want to know where it is, it's Capo Valley. You can follow the Orange Report. Go to the Orange Report OC here on Twitter or over on Instagram or Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Orange Report OC. And I have all the documents and the pathetic response from the district. But one incident that happened recently was the TPUSA club at Capo Valley High held a discussion. What is a woman? And they had their signs vandalized, and some student walked by the room, threw an object at the teacher aide, hit the teacher in her neck, and then shouted, "You got Charlied." Like, this stuff is going on, and our conservative school board has no response. So it's not enough if you, I did ask for a response, and the response I got was they just copy pasted the school district's policy on bullying. So you can't just depend on it. Conservatives, Republicans, please, we can't be like the left. We can't be like them. Just elect our people and then look away and be like, they're doing fine. I'm sure they've got it. And I'm just as guilty as the next person. That's why I ran in 22, because I actually thought I had a school board that was working for me. I didn't even go to the meetings because I live in a conservative area, and I used to go when I first moved here, and thought I knew what happened there, but I didn't. So I'm just as guilty as the next person. Not trying to absolve myself here. But you got to be curious, and you got to be more curious than just, okay, we got a Republican elected. Now we can, now we can just relax and take our eyes off the ball. because our kids in our school district here, even after we elected a Republican board, are still in danger. They're still being transitioned. There's, conservative students are still being physically threatened at school. Schools are still failing to discipline violence against conservatives or Christian religious groups, while elevating LGBTQ and other, quote, oppressed groups. It's still going on, even though we have a conservative board. So it doesn't matter, if you're not willing as a person to stand up and fight and just observe, then it doesn't matter who you elect. It doesn't matter what letter they have after their name. If they're going to betray you with an R behind their name, what's the difference if they do it with a D behind their name? Look at Texas. I know we all think liberals are dumb, but they're not that dumb. Liberals aren't dumb at all. Progressives are dumb. Liberals aren't dumb at all, but they figured it out. They figured out that no Democrat was winning in Texas, so they became rhinos. They became Republicans. And now there's a whole slate of them running as Republicans across the country. That's right. You should know who you're voting for before you pull that lever, because the progressives are putting R's behind their names right now. Take that to the bank. So it's not enough to just assume I'm voting for a Republican and they will represent me. All right, I got off on a tangent here because I was talking about the school board. And the school board will be on blast on the Orange Report this week. I think Friday we'll get the episode out. I'm trying to get it out today because there's a school board meeting tonight, actually, the school board meeting, and they should address it. All right, this is another request. Okay. Let's go look over some of this SOTU stuff. So anyways, the tangent was that Trump uses his time at the mic to say what he wants to say. And at the State of the Union, that's what he did. It wasn't just that he was touting his record, which is what you do at the State of the Union, but he actually took it directly to Democrats, right to them. Laid the blame at their feet. None of this, like, maybe we can work together. It's such a shame. Yeah, no, this is your fault. You've done this. This is your fault. That's exactly what he should have done. I thought it was excellent. And I did notice, I sure did notice he had a red tie. He had a red tie. Because you know what? When Trump was inaugurated last year, he was wearing purple, and he still wears purple ties often. But he wore purple, and he would wear purple a lot, even when he was campaigning. He would wear purple, especially when he was campaigning to, the opposition. And I think that's significant. I mean, men don't have a lot of fashion choices, it's got to be reflected in their tie. But the purple's kind of the color, it's color of royalty, but it's also the color of unity. It's like got the mixture of those colors in it. And I really felt, I believe I'm right, that this was sort of a signal, a subtle signal to America. Look, I want us to be united. I'm the president of everybody. But last night he had on a red tie. And I think that's because he the sides have been chosen, and the Democrats have already chosen. The Democrats have chosen rebellion, and that's just what they're going to do. Open rebellion. They have to be crushed. This is why, again, I don't think you've heard me talk about this California governor's race. We're telling a lot of people to get behind Steve Hilton, that Chad Bianco's going to be the spoiler. He's going to Curtis Sliwa this whole thing, because we have these jungle primaries that are set up for this very thing. They're set up for Republicans to fail them. And we do every time. We do every time. But the only way to break out of that is to break out of their expectations. Unite behind one solid person. But my point with that is this. We have to do something differently. We've been playing by the old rules, especially in the state of California, for far too long. And we look at Donald Trump and we can see this is a man who doesn't play by the regular playbook, and it's working for him. I don't understand any conservative or Republican who then says, yes, but it won't work anywhere else. Instead of taking what looks successful and has been successful and replicating that, conservatives and Republicans, but particularly here in California, want to say, well, that was good for him, but let's keep doing what we've been doing for the last 30 years. Maybe it'll work this year. We have to take our opportunities when we come, or we're fools. I see a delightful opportunity here in California for 2026 if Republicans could get on board with this war. And that's what it is. It's a war. Too many California Republicans are acting like if we lose in 26, they're just going to go back to their Newport Beach house and, oh, well, I'll just send my kids to college out of state and they'll just inherit my mansion and that's that. They'll just inherit my property wherever it is. And, oh, well, we'll try again next time. But there's a lot of us out here that don't think there's going to be a next time. The supermajority is so cemented, they're gonna cut out the last of the loopholes this election cycle if we don't do something. All right, I promised I was going to get to a clip. Sorry. All right. Let's share the screen. We'll do. I went to Rapid Response. If you don't follow Rapid Response 47 on X, you should. It's great. Every politician, by the way, if you're running for office, you should have a Rapid Response team. That is an account on X or Instagram, wherever your favorite platform is, that immediately responds for your candidate. So if there's video that needs to get clipped up, they're getting it out right away. They're putting out statements, they're putting out clips, they're putting out videos, they're responding to attacks. You need a Rapid Response team if you don't have one and you're a serious candidate. That's just a little advice. Give it to you for free. Can you believe this show is free? All right, let's see. Let's start with this moment.
Everybody.
Let's start with this moment. Oh no, this is a full moment. Sorry. Let's see. All right, we'll start with this one. Trump talking about there we go.
In Pennsylvania, I met Megan Hemhauser, a devoted mom who's homeschools her children, beautiful, 2 children, during the day while waiting tables at night as her husband works overtime operating very heavy equipment. Megan is here this evening and she's happy to tell you that she is so much richer because with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and her expanded child tax credit done again by Republicans, Megan and her husband will take home more than $5,000 extra just for the year, cutting her tax bill in more than half.
Right. I like that. I like that because you take real people, you put them in Congress and you point out to everybody, this is the real world result of these policies. We've heard all about the big, beautiful bill, but to see it in action, right? And again, everything that Trump was doing last night was daring Democrats to call him a liar, daring Democrats to say why it's not true, it's not real, daring Democrats to look at that woman and tell her that an extra $5,000 a year in her pocket is meaningless. Because to them it is. They really think of it as a pittance. So their whole attitude is like, oh, well, that you can't send a kid to college on that, right? But for her, that's the difference between, I don't know, a new car this year or sinking another $2,000 into a car that barely runs and isn't totally safe for kids. Or it could even mean the difference between just staying home and not taking a family trip, even to the local national park, anything, it just, for everybody, that's a lot. And Trump also talked about the military bonuses of 1776. Same thing. When that hit, a lot of my liberal friends and families and acquaintances, they were like, that's nothing. That's a pittance. Well, sure, I guess. If you're rich and you've got a steady paycheck coming in every week and it gets bigger and bigger every year. But for our military, a $1,700 gift, yeah, especially at Christmas time. Yeah. It's life-changing. It really can be the difference between having a miserable Christmas and having a hopeful one for a lot of people. but this is how far removed they are from the American people. And this is what Trump has been pointing out, or what he was pointing out in his speech last night over and over again, to great success. All right. Oh, rapid response been busy today. I followed them all last night during the speech. Oh, this is cool. They put all of the newspaper headlines up on the website. Very cool, very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, let's see. All right. See, what happened was I thought I was being clever and I had the feed set right where I wanted it, and then the feed just automatically live reaction. Lots of live reaction. All right. I'll have to do a separate episode and we'll do stop sharing. Okay. And we'll do the rest. Trump telling those kids, telling Trump, you know what? No. Let me do this. Just give me a second. Because I'll thank myself when I go to edit this later for the regular podcast. And he said, "You people are crazy. You people are crazy." Chuck Schumer. Oof. I don't think the Democrats are going to be able to recover from this one. Okay, here we go. We'll share this one. Share screen.
Why not join us in celebrating? Sitting before me for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
See, he had a purple tie. See, he had the purple tie. I told you. Last year he had the purple tie, and I think he was really genuinely like Charlie had not passed yet. A lot has changed. A lot has changed. What else do I want to say about this? Oh, well, that line that I thought I was going to get just now. Maybe someday I'll have a producer, but I don't want one right now. I don't want to pay anybody when all I do is just turn on this mic when I feel like it. But the the thing that I think about, I think about Charlie a lot. I think about Charlie a lot more than I thought that I would, because he used to get on my nerves so bad. I used to give him such a hard time. I mean, anybody who listened to my show would know I used to give him such a hard time. Not over liberals, like it was friendly fire, right? Like, we're on the same side, and I always worried that he was like making my job as a Black conservative harder with some of the stuff he said, but it wasn't ever mean or mean-spirited or bitter. But he got on my nerves. But when he died, and you can go see my video from that day and the following days, but really, it really affected me, because it really affected me more than I thought it would. I don't know. I think it's because my son's entering adulthood, and he works in this business now a little bit. And when they killed Charlie, I thought to myself, yeah, it is war. People are dying. It's war. And so I've been spending the bulk of my career trying to talk reasonably and sanely and logically to people of all stripes. And I really had always wanted to talk to liberals and progressives, because I used to be a liberal, and I always imagine when I'm engaging in persuasion and critical thinking that I'm talking to liberal Kira. I'm talking to her, and what would she need to hear? And I really believed that there was a way to engage in good faith and to win hearts. I really did. I really, really did. And if you listen to my show, the old show, Just Listen to Yourself, which is still available in the archives. Like, I'll send you over there. I don't even get paid. If you listen to that show, I don't get paid from it anymore. I'm genuinely, I think you might find some of the stuff over there interesting. And there's other shows on that network too that are really interesting. But you'll hear me talk a lot about forgiveness and grace and making space for people to learn and figure things out. But when they killed Charlie, well, I just think that was my line. Drawing lines endorsed by my friend Dan Bongino, who is also pissed off for good reason. Standing with Dan everywhere all the time. I just thought to myself, there's no reasoning with this. This is evil and we're at war. And there are people on our own side who don't know we're at war. They don't know what time it is. They haven't figured it out. And I find those people to be just as dangerous as the progressives. So I'm not in the mood for persuasion. I'm not in the mood to be nice. I'm not in the mood to figure it out. I'm not in the mood to grant the Gavin Newsoms of the world the benefit of the doubt. No. Go F yourselves. No, it's war. And I can't be convinced that it's not. Like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's too late for me. I'm never going back to that Kira. She doesn't exist anymore. Now I got nothing but piss and vinegar in me. But that's how I feel. I just feel like, nuke that friggin' filibuster. Get all the shit done. Get it all done in the next few months. As if there's no tomorrow, because I don't think there will be. If we let Democrats get back into power. They've been telling us what they want to do from the beginning, and 70 of them didn't even show up for work yesterday. That's how little respect they have for the American people or the American system or the normalcy of the system or the tradition of the system. They have made it clear. They wouldn't even stand for the idea that their job is to protect America's citizens first before and over and above illegal aliens. They couldn't even stand for that most basic notion of American service. They have told us who they are. And old Kira has been thinking that they just didn't know who they are. And if they heard good arguments and delivered with grace, that we could find a way to get this country back together. But you know what? Trump is right. Not Kira. Kira's wrong. Kira's wrong. Trump is right. He was right about everything. Success will bring unity. We will be unified when this country is successful. So every Republican should be engaged in making whatever endeavor that they are involved in successful. If you're on the school board, then you should be successfully reversing all of the damage the liberals did. If you are on a city council, you should be successfully reversing all of the damage. If you're running a business, you should be a success. Keep growing. Keep fighting for the policies that will help you grow. In California, it's nearly impossible. I don't know how y'all are doing it. Thank you to all of our business owners who are here and working and fighting the good fight. And if you got to go, no blame to you. Let me just say this too. I'll say that. I just saw another friend moving out of California, and it happens all the time. And I think a lot of them feel guilty in some way too, because a lot of times you feel like maybe I'm giving up, like Kira's still there or this person's still there. I just want to say no judgment. Every single person that I've known who's been fighting in this state, they've been fighting the good fight for a very, very, very long time. And if you've decided it's your time to go, no judgment. Like, thank you for your service. And I don't know, I don't know how we get asked all the time. Like, I don't know how long we're gonna last here, but like, God has not opened any other doors for us, and we don't go anywhere without word from God. That's how we got here. So I've always said it's more dangerous to be living in comfort and safety outside of God's will than to live in discomfort and risk inside of God's will. That's how I felt when we lived in the hood. in Gary, Indiana, you know, a lot of people be like, Kira, how do you drive-bys every night? And there's always shooting. You just get used to the shooting after a while. And there's always guns and gun violence. And it is what it is. It's just the nature of the beast. But I never once thought about, I promise you, I never once thought about, I'm scared to live here and God get me out. I never said that. God get me out. No, because I always believed that that's where we were for that time for a purpose. And so I knew it'd be safer inside God's will than to go into the suburbs and be outside of his will. It's how I feel about California too. Could we be better off? Much more comfortable financially speaking? Certainly, if we left, certainly. But I've raised my kids here now, and California feels like home to me. Home is where the heart is, and my heart is here. It's in Orange County. It's a weird place. I didn't quite understand it when I got here. I don't think I really still do. But California is home. That's where my kids were raised. And if God put us here, it's because we're supposed to be doing something. So I'm just going to keep doing the things until he says, here's your mansion in Portugal, Kira. Enjoy. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath for that one, Lord. But I don't mind Californians. If you got to get up and go, do what you got to do. Family first. No judgment. Thank you for everything. Thank you. All right. I think we need to wrap it up. I don't know what else I wanted to say except, go to the Orange Report OC. I'm working on getting verification here on X. I may have already had it. And then over on Instagram, 2 best places. But you can go to Facebook. I share all the stuff. I'm just trying to think. It's a new show. I literally just started it. It's not, we haven't really been promoting it all that much. Just a place for me to talk about, but that's changing soon. Don't worry. But for now, it's just getting the stuff on the record about Orange County. And I started it because there's no one really here to cover Orange County except a couple of local publications. So I just thought it would be fun or good to have an outlet to talk about what goes on here in Orange County. You may have already seen one of the stories that we helped break, which was the stories of the beach cameras in San Clemente. I interviewed the mayor, Steve Noblock, who was having trouble getting those beach cams. The libs were giving him a hard time. Border Patrol was being slow on the responses that they needed for some of the financial stuff. The city council was holding things up. There's a lot going on. We ran the story. A week later, they approved the beach cams. So we're already making a splash. So definitely go over there to Orange Report OC. Check that out. JustKiraDavis.com. I'm going to get off here and then go to work on my State of the Union article. And what else do I have to tell you? Journey to Christmas Land, my podcast with Amelia Hamilton. We're starting, that's my cheesy Christmas Hallmark movie podcast. We are doing March Madness. We're doing a Christmas Land March Madness. So fun. So go sign up for that. You can go to Journey to Christmas Land anywhere. But the March Madness is happening on Substack. And there will be prizes to win. It'll be super fun. It is a Hallmark March Madness round robin tournament. So looking forward to that. Going to be lots of fun. Shout out to all of our fans who are already signed up. I'm going to take off now because I think I've said enough. And I'll be back on this mic the next time that I feel like I want to sit down and say something. But if you want to hear from me regularly, then Orange Report OC is definitely the place to go. That's where I'm there every week, rain or shine, without fail. And then I never stop talking here on X, ever. I am always jabbering on X. It's an obsession. It's a little bit of a problem. And yeah, I don't know. Elon, help. Elon's not going to help me. I'm doing exactly what he wants me to be doing. and shout out to Grok, by the way. Shout out to Grok because I am loving the Grok AI. I'm not even joking. I love Grok. I have the Grok app on my phone, and I love Grok. So shout out to Grok. Be nice to us, our AI overlords. All right, I'm going to take off. Just follow me in all the places. Bye.